speaker. Don't forget to connect with us, follow us at Cloud Data Driven, and then also visit our data community platform for latest update. You can go to SQL Data Saturday to find out what event next or SQL Saturday. Okay, and then for today's presentation, we have Pragati, Jain. Am I saying it right, Pragati?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Pragati, and it is an honor to have you here. Pragati will show us some cool stuff at the beginner level on how we can do data analysis using Power BI. She is a data analyst at C4 Solutions. And then she have a master's degree in data science, and she is a Microsoft MVP, right? We do have some future presentations. The next one, we have Ahmed Banzal. He's gonna show us how to troubleshoot a slow running query in SQL Server and Azure SQL. We have Hilary Starter that's gonna do a nice presentations also on SQL performance tuning, and there are tons of other sessions. I would highly suggest you guys go and save your spot. If you guys want to present any sessions, feel free to email me at j.joseph@bigdatadriven.com, and I'll be happy to schedule your sessions. Right, and then now, Pragati, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Jain, for such a good introduction. I'll just share my screen.
You are very welcome. Can you please turn off your video? Raquel, would you please turn off your video? Raquel Robinson.
Yes, I have it turned off.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you everyone, and welcome to my session today on data analysis using Power BI for beginners. Before I start the session, like Jain has already given a great introduction about me, but I just want to tell a few more things about myself. So, as Jain said, I'm a Microsoft Data Platform MVP. I'm also one of the super user at Microsoft Power BI community. So if any of you guys who are active at Microsoft Power BI community, you'll definitely see me there being pretty active in answering queries and helping others with great stuff there. Then I have all got 10 plus years of industry experience. Then my initial years I have been working as a database developer, but currently I'm working as a senior data analyst here in UK. One fun fact about me, I'm not sure whether it is a fun fact, but I'm a painter and I like to proudly call myself a techie artist. And any of you guys, if you want to connect with me, I've got my own blog, which is datavibe.co.uk. You can connect with me there, drop me a message or email. I have added my LinkedIn. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I have basically included all my connections here, like LinkedIn, Twitter. You can find me on Power BI community page as well, and my Instagram. So before I start the session, guys, I would like to just show you the proper agenda for today's session. So our today's session is going to be a one slide, and it will be a complete demo session. So I'll be showing you everything in Power BI desktop. So I have just broken down my session into 4 different sections. So my first section will be telling you and showing you guys about Power BI desktop tool, like basic things around it, like what kind of visuals are available, how different sectors are there, like data view, model view, visual view. So we'll just cover basic functionalities within Power BI desktop tool. Then the second section will be more around, we'll bring in a sample travel insurance data, and I'll try to generate top 5 key insights out of data in front of you guys live. Then the third section will be, obviously, as we have got time limit on this session. So in the end, I'll show you a complete report, which I created using this travel insurance data. So just to show you, like, how you can make your Power BI reports more interactive by adding new functionalities, which we won't be able to cover in this session today. And obviously, in the end, it will be a Q&A session. So yeah, let's start with a Power BI session. Okay, so this is a Power BI desktop window what you see. Now, before going further, let me tell you two things about Power BI. So Power BI is considered as a reporting tool, but for me, it's not just a reporting tool. It has a lot to do with data transformations as well. So you can do many level of transformations within Power BI, and obviously you can create a report or dashboard out of it. Now, the second thing I want to point here is, so Power BI has got two different environments. One environment is Power BI Desktop, which is generally considered as a developer tool where developers like me can build reports. Then the second environment is a cloud-based environment, which is a Power BI service environment. So once the reports are built by developer in Power BI Desktop, they can share it to cloud environment from where different users or stakeholders can consume and access the reports. Sorry, did someone say anything? Sorry, guys. Okay, can everyone go on mute, please? Because I hear some disturbance in the background. Sorry, guys.
I will disable that access so this way they don't have to do it next time. If you guys have any question, please raise your hand. Sorry about that, Pragati.
Okay, no, that's fine, Jean. Thank you so much. I'll go back. Okay, so this is basically a Power BI desktop tool. Once you open it, I've just kept it open for you. So once you open it, and yeah, it's a free tool. You can just download it on your Windows machine and you can just start working on it straight away, right away. So when you open a Power BI desktop, this window appears. I'll just close this for now. Now, once you open it, you end up with this blank canvas here. Okay. Sorry, is someone saying anything? No. Okay. So yeah, this is what Power BI report starts with. So before doing anything further, what I'll do, I'll just load in the data sets in the starting, because once I load data set in Power BI, it will be easy for me to show and tell things what I want to tell you today as part of this session. So in Power BI, when you see the top ribbon, there's something called Get Data. Now, Get Data, when you click on it, so it shows like multiple resources. So Power BI has got basically support for multiple different data source and connectors from which you can use to bring in data in Power BI. So just to show you, I'll just point out few main ones which are used very frequently. So like, for example, Excel file, text or CSV flat files. Then we have got SharePoint here. We have got some databases like SQL Server database. We have got Oracle here. We have got MySQL, Postgres, and there are multiple other connectors here available. And on the left, these connectors are just grouped into different categories. So like, for example, if I click on file, I see all the different kind of file support in Power BI. If I click on database, I can see different kinds of database connectors available in Power BI. Then there's a Power Platform connector. We have got Azure. So for Azure, there's a lot of support here. So you have multiple choices here. Then there are a few online service connectors like SharePoint Online List, and there is something like other where you can bring in some web URL data. Now, as for this session, I'll be sticking to my simple Excel and CSV file. Okay. So the first data set what I'll be bringing on is a CSV file. So I select that type of connector in Power BI and click Connect. Now, once I click Connect, Power BI asks me to select the data. So I just go and browse my file. I bring it in. I click Open. And now Power BI is loading that data in the background. Now, once Power BI loads the data, it gives you like a preview of the data. So for example, it's showing you just top 200 rows, and it's showing you all the columns that are in this data set. Okay. Now I'll click Load. Now, once I click Load, Power BI is trying to load every row from that data set. Basically, it's importing everything here in this Power BI desktop tool. Now, once that file is loaded, on the right, you can see there's something called fields pane. And in that fields pane, you can see that new data set is loaded. Now, once you expand it, I'll just make this broad. Once you expand it, you can see all the columns that are in that file. Okay, so it kind of tells you a data structure of that file, which you have just loaded. Now, just to add one more thing, I'll add another data set because I want to show you as part of a simple exercise here in this session, how you create a simple relationship in Power BI. So what I'll do, I'll just bring in an Excel file. And yeah, I'll click that. I'll select the file. I click open. Then you'll see Power BI opens a window. Now, the difference between this and the previous one is the previous was a CSV file and this one is an Excel file. Now, those of you, in the session, many of you might be coming from an Excel background, or you know how to work with Excel. So like a single Excel file works on multiple sheets. So in my Excel file, I've got a single sheet. That's why I see it here. Once I click on it, Power BI loads it for me. But in your case, you may end up with an Excel file which may have multiple sheets in it. So Power BI gives you an option to select which sheet you want to load in Power BI for your analysis. So in this case, we have just got one sheet, so I just load that. So we see all the columns that Power BI has identified. We click load. And just wait for a few seconds. And we see like Power BI has loaded that file here, plain accidents, and I can see the columns here. Now you'll see by mistake, Power BI is, I really don't know, Power BI is showing some weird columns here, okay? Column names here. So I'll tell you how we handle these kind of things in Power BI after you load the data. Now, as part of best practice, what I generally tend to do is once I load, because the first step is you load data in Power BI, which you want to analyze. The second step as part of best practice should be, you should go and have a high level view of the data that you have loaded in Power BI. So by high level, I mean like whether the data is right, are the column names right, is the data within those columns right, are the data types or the values in the right format. So those are the different kind of high level views that you can have around a data set after you load it in Power BI. So to achieve certain kind of high level view, what Power BI gives a very strong functionality, I would say. Power BI gives ability to view this data in a Power Query editor. Now, Power Query editor, how you navigate to it. So on this ribbon under home, you can see transform data. When you click on transform data here, then Power BI opens a new window. Now, this new window is known as Power Query editor. You can see it at the top. Now, again, I would say those who have got an Excel background, this Power Query editor will sound very familiar to what you see in Excel, because Power BI has taken a lot of things that we already have in Excel. So that's why this Power Query is very similar to what we see in Excel. Now, the first thing, now we can see our data here, okay? Just for a better look, I'll just minimize these panes. I'll get them back after I show you a few things. Now, what I generally do is when we have the data, we should see like, okay, let's see the top profiling of this data. So under view in Power Query, there are few options against this data set. Okay, so let's see the first thing. Let's see column quality. Okay. Now, once I click on column quality, Power BI just displays 3 metrics against every column that is in my file or in my data set. Now, what these 3 metric mean? So valid tells you whether the values in this column are valid from Power BI's point of view. Now, one thing, when you load data in Power BI makes its best judgment to analyze the data and give it a certain data type based on the maximum values that are in that column. So for example, if you see agency column, this is something Power BI came up with, that it's a text column, because most of the values in this column are text, right? And obviously all columns in that value are in that column are text. That's why it's right. So based on that, Power BI comes up with these metrics. Valid means all the values in this columns are valid based on the data type Power BI came up with. Error is, has Power BI identified any error within this column? And third metric is empty, like if Power BI found any empty rows in this column or empty cell values in this column. So now for agency column, Power BI tells us like everything is perfect, 100% valid, no error, no empty. Okay. Now I'll give you another example. In the same data set, I've got a column called gender. If you see this column, Power BI tells us that only 11% of the values are valid. There is no error in this column, but 89% of values are empty. Now, when we are dealing with empty values in Power BI, I would suggest to always replace those empty values with some kind of sensible value. The reason why we should do this is because sometimes empty values or null values in a column can actually lead us to wrong predictions or wrong conclusions while we are analyzing the data. So it's always good to have your data as complete as you can have. So what we'll do as part of a quick exercise, I'll just try to show you how you can replace this empty value with a different value. So for replacing an empty value, what you do is you can just go and right click on the column. In this case, it is gender. Then there's an option called replace values. So you just click on replace values and a new window appears. Now in this case, this window asks me two inputs. The first input is which value I want to replace. And the second is with what value I want to replace. Now in my case, I want to replace empty value. So it's an empty character. So if I leave this field blank, then it is empty. And I want to replace it with, say, you. Now, the reason why I chose you is, for example, if you see the gender column, it has got two values in it, and the third is empty. The two values are M is for male and F is for female. So just to have my third value align with the existing values in the column, I just choose you as you for unknown, unknown data, basically. But you can choose any value, like for example, NA, not applicable, not found, not given, anything, whatever. It's up to you. So I just go with you and I click OK. Now, once I click OK, you see that all of my empty values are replaced by you and my empty is gone to 0% and my valid is gone to 100%. OK, so we have resolved that empty column issue in this data. And if you see any other column, there's no other column having this issue. Now, the second thing what I will like to show is column distribution. Now, column distribution ends up showing us two more metrics in Power BI. Now, for example, take destination column. Now, in destination column, it shows 65 distinct and 16 unique. Now, when we talk in a general English language, distinct and unique hold same meaning to us. But when you work as a data person or a person like me who works with data, distinct and unique, they hold different meaning. So how they're different, I'll tell you. So this destination column has got 65 distinct values. It means this column has got 65 different destination names. Okay. And 16 unique. 16 unique means in destination column, there are 16 values that have occurred only once. So that's the difference between distinct and unique. So when a data person is looking at the data, that's what distinct and unique mean to him or her. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just bring back the sections I just collapsed and I'll just bring it back. Okay. Okay. So this is what a kind of, high level view, you can see your data. Now, the other thing, if you remember, the plane accidents table showed us some weird columns, which Power BI read. So just to show you, like in my Excel file, what I had on my next column in the header, I had source written and the link from where this data is coming up. So maybe Power BI just read it as different columns. Now to handle such things, I just want these two columns because these are the relevant columns in my data set. And I want to remove these 4 columns. So one way of doing it is just click the column, right click and remove it. Okay, but here I want to remove multiple columns. So on a Windows machine, what you can do, you can just use your control key, click on all the columns, right click and remove columns. So once you do that, all your columns are removed. Now in Power Query, whenever you do these kind of small changes or transformations, on the right, there's something called applied steps. So you see everything what's done here. We removed columns, so that has been added as a new step here. All the previous steps are the default steps that Power BI judged for us and made it done for us. Now there's another way of doing this. Once you remove it, columns come back because I've removed my applied step thing. The other thing is in my data set, only these 2 columns are valid ones and I want to remove rest of them. So what I can do on my Windows machine, I use again control key, select the columns which I want in this data set. I right click and there's another option called remove other columns. So when I click on remove other columns, those unwanted columns are gone and we can see that applied step here. So that's how you can do basic things in Power BI in Power Query. Now, apart from this, in Power Query, there are other things you can do. Like, for example, if you want to merge data sets, if you want to append data sets, 2 different data sets, you want to replace values, which I already showed you how you can do that. You can group by a data set by a single column. You can remove columns. Then you have an area which is designated for AI insights where you can see text analytics. You can basically invoke some text analytics API and do that analysis in Power BI. You can bring in your Azure machine learning models here, connect to Power BI and do further reporting on your predictions. Then under transform tab, you have got things like you can transpose the data, you can pivot and unpivot data, then you can merge columns, and even Power Query has got support for running R and Python scripts. So yes, you can run R and Python scripts within Power BI. Then there's another section called add column, which allows you to add custom columns, or you can create an index column, or you can even write a custom function and invoke it for creating a column. So yeah, these are the like basic kinds of things you can do in Power Query. Now, as we have already done whatever changes we wanted to do for this session, so let's just go forward and save our things. Okay. Now, this is a very important step. If you don't save your workings in Power Query, it will never be saved for you, and it will not be available for you while you're creating your reporting. Okay. So you need to do this as a very important step. So select, close, and apply. And Power BI is just loading all the changes we did in Power Query, and it will bring those changes here. Okay. Something happened. Okay, yeah, it just took time. So for example, one of the changes was we removed those unwanted columns from Power BI from this plain accident. So we can see like, okay, just 2 of the relevant columns are there. Okay, so that's just one of the check. So now, before we start building any visuals, I want to show you, I want to take you through other elements in Power BI as well. So I'll start from here. On the left, you can see 3 different icons. The first icon is a report section. Now, this report section shows you all the visuals, what you create. Okay. Now, the second area is the data section. Now, in data section, you can see all the data, what you have loaded. So for example, for now, Power BI is showing me plain accidents data. If you want to see travel insurance, click on travel insurance under fields pane and it will show you that data. The third section is called model section. Now, this section is required when you have certain kind of relationships going on between multiple data sets. So for example, as part of a small exercise, I'll just show you how to create a relationship in Power BI between 2 tables. Now, if you see plain accidents data, there's a column called country. And in the travel insurance data, there's a column called destination. And these 2 columns have same values in it, okay, country values in it. So we'll try to create relationship between these 2 data sets on these columns. Now, there are 2 ways you can navigate to creating relationship in Power BI. One way is you can click on this manage relationship icon from the top ribbon, or you can click on 3 dots on any of these data sets and there's again manage relationship. So you can choose either of the option to go to the create relationship window. So once I click on manage a relationship, you can see that this window is empty. The reason is because I don't have any active relationships currently in Power BI, and that's why it is empty. So let's go and create a new relationship. So for that, we click on this new. Once we click on new, Power BI asks us to select between which tables you want to create these relationships. So I'll select plain accidents and okay, now my second table is selected by default. The reason is because I've just loaded 2 data sets. So if I selected one, second is by default selected. But suppose if you have multiple data sets in your Power BI loaded, then Power BI gives you an option to select which table you want. Okay. Now I want to create relationship on country column from plane accidents and destination column from travel insurance. So once I select columns from these respective tables, Power BI by default makes a best judgment and gives the cardinality of a relationship. So we just go with Power BI's judgment. We just click OK. Now, once I click OK, my relationship is showing up here because now we have an active relationship in Power BI. So it's showing up here. And we close the window. Then you can see in the model view, a relationship is created. OK, so this is just a basic around how you create a relationship. Now let's just go to data pane, data view again, because I just want to give you a background around what this travel insurance data is so you understand what I'm trying to analyze in this exercise. So this travel insurance data is basically a small data set which contains information around different travel insurance products that have been sold by different agencies. So that's what we see here. We have got agencies. Then we have got agency type. Now, obviously, you can buy travel insurance product either by airlines or travel agencies. So that these are the two high-level agency categories we have got. Then we have got different insurance product name. Then we have got destinations against which these products were sold. Then we have got sales, how much they generated after they were sold. Then there's a commission value. So whenever an agency sells a travel insurance product, there's a commission value attached to it. So that's what this column tells us. Then we have got information around the customers who bought these kind of products. So we have got two metrics around that. One is gender and one is age. Now, before we start doing the reports, let's do a quick data formatting exercise here. Now, as you see, net sales is something which will be a better, I mean, net sales could be a metric. It can be represented in a better way. So currently, for example, I just see it just shows me a whole number, basically 10 here. OK, and if I click on it, you can just see it's a normal number. OK, so you can see it's a number, decimal number. Now, suppose if I want to represent this information in a better way, like for example, sales are generally represented as a currency value, right? So let's do that transformation on this net sales column. So for that, what you can do is click on this net sales column, and on the top, a ribbon opens, which tells you like what data type you have and what kind of formatting it has got. Now, in my case, I want to make it a currency variable. OK, so one way could be I can select currency from here, or I can just go here and select which currency I want. So for example, I'll select United Kingdom. So once I select United Kingdom, my format changes to currency by default. OK, you can see it here. And here, if you see, my column has changed. I mean, the number is represented now with pound. I mean, it is just a pound sign is added with that number. So that tells me, that gives me a better representation of the number. Now, suppose if I don't want two decimal places on this number, so what I can do is I can remove these decimal places from here to 0, hit enter, and it shows me as a whole number. Or the other way could have been keep it as 2 decimal, but change the data type. So here data type is decimal. As I select it to whole number, it will give me same thing. It will, yeah. Oh, sorry, no, sorry, it's not giving the same thing. You need to make the decimal number to 0. Sorry. So yeah, make the decimal number to 0 and you see it as a whole value. Now the same transformation I'll make on the commission as well, because commission is also something which is read in currency. So let's do it the same way. We click on it, we select English United Kingdom, and I see the currency. Now I don't want decimals, so I remove the decimals. Okay, so yeah, so these are the basic, I mean, transformations you can do. Rest everything looks fine to me, so I won't do any more data type transformations here. Now, yeah, let's start with the reporting, the actual data analysis exercise. OK, so as I've already given you the background of this data, so let's start with like a simple chart, like how many products different agencies are selling. OK, so for that, what I'll start with, I'll take a chart called clustered bar chart. I'll click on it. OK, before that, I want to tell you one more thing. Sorry, I missed. So in Power BI, there are different kind of visualizations. OK, so So Power BI gives you some default visualizations which are already there once you open Power BI. As we open Power BI, these visualizations were already there. So these are default ones. But in Power BI, you can also bring in some kind of custom visuals which are available online through their app source. So for that, what you can do is you can click on these three dots which says Get More Visuals. And once you click on Get More Visuals, it will take you to a new window from where you can load some custom visuals. Okay. But for this session, we'll just stick to these default visuals because as per my experience, I found these default visuals very strong in representing any kind of data story. So I will stick to these default visuals for now. Okay. So yeah, we selected this clustered bar chart. And now our task is to represent how many insurance products each of the different agency types are selling. So what we'll do for this is we'll just bring this agency type. Okay, yeah, I'm in the wrong pane. So we'll use this agency type to access. And what I just want to count total number of products they have sold. So what I'll do, I've got product name column in my data. I'll bring it in and move it to values section. Now, once I move it to value section, you see Power BI has by default given it a summarization. So for example, this product name column is a text column. So obviously you can't summarize it in any other way rather than counting it. So Power BI has given you a count by itself. Now, just to clear the things here, we'll go under formatting section. And now under formatting section, you have got multiple things which you can do with this visual. Like for example, if you want to change colors, so yeah, you can change colors. So go on changing colors, so you change it. If you want to switch on data labels, switch on data labels. Now with data labels, you can play further around. For example, I don't want any display units. I want to display the whole value, so I display it that way. You can change the colors for data labels. You can change the title you want to change. So there are many formatting options you can do here, okay? Now you can see here, the first insight what we get out of this data is that travel agencies are selling more products than airlines. Okay, so this is just the top insight we get. Okay, let's take it. And the first thing, the next step, what we'll try to do is, okay, this number representation here, you see it showing you 45869. This is 17457. But suppose if you're trying to present this number to someone in the higher management or to the stakeholders, then for them, this number representation is not in its best format, okay? Because people like management people or the client or customer, they like the numbers represented with 1,000 separators, right? So for that thing, what I'll do, I'll just create a measure for this small number representation thing, and I'll show you how we can do it. So now in Power BI, you can create three different kind of calculations. So to create a calculation, what you do is right click on your data set, and there are three kinds of calculations that come up. One is measure, one is column, one is quick measure. Now, quick measure is something when you click on it, then these are the default calculations that Power BI has already got for you. So basically, if you want to create something like an aggregated calculation by category, if you want to create some time intelligence calculation, then if you want to create some totals like running total or totals by categories, then there are some quick measures for you. But for this exercise, I'll create a measure. So when I click on new measure, a new formula bar appears on the top. Now, what we want to do is we just want to create a total product. So total, or let's rename it volume of products. Okay, so it just, I mean, you can rename it, you can name it anything you want, but yeah, just now we want to count product name, right? So in this chart, we moved the count on product name. So we'll do the same here by writing measure. Now you want to do count, right? So type count. Now see how good Power BI is. You start typing things and it starts showing you. So for example, you start adding more, it shows you what are all functions available. So in my case, I want count. I hit enter. And now it tells you have to give a column name. Okay, so in my case, it is product name. So we take product name and that's it, hit enter. So you have created a quick, simple measure in Power BI. Now let's move this volume to this values, okay? Value section. Okay, numbers are still same. Now we want to represent this measure with 1,000 separators. So what we do is we click on this measure, and on the top ribbon, it clearly shows you something like display the volume values with commas as 1,000 separator. So we click on it, and as soon as we click on it, our number is changed with a 1000 separator for this measure. Okay, so that's how you can add some additional things to your reporting visuals. Now what I'll do, I'll remove the previous one and I'll just keep this because this shows me the better way the number is shown on the chart. Now when you represent this or show this number to the high management, then for them 45,869 is shown in a right way on the chart. Okay, so now this chart told us or showed us that travel agencies are selling more products. Let's find out a reason why this may be happening. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just go to a clustered column chart, move it here. And what I'll do is I'll move agency type again to the axis now. Now in the data set, if you remember, we had a column, something called commission. Now commission, as I mentioned earlier, that whenever a travel agency or airline, when they sell a travel insurance product, a commission value is attached to the total price of that insurance product. Okay, so let's try to see, like, on an average, how much commission these different agency types are taking while they sell an insurance product. Okay, so what we want is we want an average commission value. So what I'll do, I'll take this commission value, I'll drag it to value section. Now, once you drag it to value section, and if you click on this drop down, Power BI by default gives it a summarization of sum. That's why you see travel agencies are gaining more commission, obviously, because they're selling more products. But this is not helping me to find the answer to the question we just asked. Okay, so we'll change this summarization from sum to average. Okay, now when I change the summarization from sum to average, this is showing me on an average how much commission an airline or travel agency is getting when they sell an insurance product. Just to make things clear, I'll switch on data labels. Okay, so now if you see the chart, it tells me that airlines are charging or taking £16 as a commission value on average when they sell an insurance product, while travel agencies are just charging £8, which is like 50% less to what airlines are charging. So I think this is the reason why travel agencies are selling more products, because they are charging less commission. Okay, so this is basically a good thing about data analysis. When you start exploring data, you come up with an insight and you start asking a question to yourself, and then you try to find an answer to it, like the one we found here on the right chart. So that's a great thing about doing things here. Okay, so this was the first two insights what we got. Now what I'll do, I'll just drag these both the visuals little below so I can show you a few more things. So in Power BI, if you're on a Windows machine, you can use Control key and you can just hold your mouse and drag the visuals wherever you want. Now let's talk about another visual called slicer. So as the name suggests, slicers are something that are used to, slice and dice data. So for example, let me show it to you. Let me move column like destination in the slicer. So once I move a column to the slicer, by default, it shows me a list. Okay, but suppose if I don't want to see it as a list, I want it in some other way, like maybe a drop down. So when you hover over your slicer, there's something like you can see this arrow here, and it asks you, like, you can select the type of slicer. So when I click on it, it gives me an option to represent it as a drop down as well. So I click drop down and see my slicer is as a drop down. Now how slicer will help us viewing the information is, now let's select a country, like for example, select China. So when I select China, now my bottom charts, both of the charts are showing me numbers relevant to the destination as China. So like how many travel insurance products have been bought against this destination? What's the commission value for against that destination? So that's how you can use slicers in Power BI. Similarly, if you want to create another slicer, one way is you can again create a new visual, or you can do is copy paste another visual. So in Power BI, you can easily use Control C, Control V, the way you use it in Windows machine. So just do a Control C, do a Control V, you get a copy of this slicer. Now move something else to it. So maybe I'll move gender to it. So when I move gender, I've got gender here. Okay, now maybe for destination China, I want to see for gender as female, so I get the numbers filtered for female. Then in slicers, if you want to clear the slicer, then when you hover over the slicer, there's an icon which is very much similar to an eraser. So when you click on it, it clears your selection. And again, if you click on it, it clears your selection, and you can see the whole information at an overall level without these slicers applied to the charts. Okay, so these are the first things. Now in Power BI, you can rename these pages. Okay, like for example, this is this is agency type analysis. So you can just rename your page. So it's just easy for you to identify what kind of analysis every page has. Now, if you want to add a page, you can use this plus sign. That just adds a new page to your report. Now let's do some analysis around different products, okay? So what I'll do is I'll again select this clustered bar chart. I move it, just make it bigger. I move product name as the axis, and I want to see how many, I mean, how their selling have been, how their sales have been. So I can see like cancellation plan is the topmost product that have been brought maximum times by different customers. Now in Power BI, one more thing you can do, for example, on this chart, I just want to, I don't like this horizontal pattern. I want to make it vertical. So what I can do is I can just switch my chart. So rather than having a clustered bar chart, I can switch it to a clustered column chart. So once I click on it, my chart just changes to the different kind of visual. Now in Power BI, against every visual, you see something called focus mode. When you click on focus mode, it just makes your chart bigger. So that's how you see here. I'll just turn on labels because it just gives a better information. Yeah, so that's now after certain values on the x-axis, you see the numbers are really nearly constant. So let's do one thing. Rather than having everything on this chart, let's just keep top 10 products. Okay, so this will basically tell us top 10 most popular travel insurance products. Okay, now before doing that, I want to explain you something around filters. Now this is called, okay, this is a filter pane. You can expand it and it shows you two options. One is filters on this page and one is filter on all pages. Now what filter on this page? Filter on this page, I mean, it is simple. It says if you drag anything here, it will be only applicable to this page. So for example, if I move agency type to filter on this page section, and if I select travel agency, then this chart gets filtered for travel agencies. But if I go to my previous page, I don't see that filter here because that filter was applicable only to this page, not the previous one. So that's what filter on this page do. Okay. Now, suppose if you want to add something on, now filter on all pages, filter on all pages is, suppose if you add anything to this section, so this filter will be visible on every other page. So for example, I moved claim here. If I go to agency type analysis, I see that filter here because this is filter on all pages. So it's kind of a report level filter. So for example, if I select no in claims, and if I go to page 1, that filter is effective here as well. So that's a benefit of having filter on all pages. So add something here and it will be by default added to all your filter pages. Okay. And the other thing is, suppose if you want to hide a filter, so you can click on this. Obviously, these changes are not seen in Power BI desktop, but once you publish your ready report to Power BI service, then this filter will be invisible to any of the users. So that's how you can hide and show filters in Power BI. Okay, so these are the two kind of filters, but there is another kind of filter in Power BI. So once you click on a visual, a third option appears here, which is called filter on this visual. And this is also known as visual level filters. Now for this chart, I just wanted to represent top 10 most popular products. Now I want to, so for this, what we'll do is we'll apply a visual level filter on a product name because I just want to slice this to top 10 product names. So what I'll do on product name, there are different type of filter types, but we want top 10. So I select top N and then I go top 10. Now I want those top 10 products based on the volume. So I just move this volume to my by value section. And as I apply filter, it just shows me top 10 products. So this is basically showing me the top 10 most popular products that different customers have bought. Okay. So this is a good insight. It tells me which products are most popular. Now, suppose I want to represent sales along with volume of products for this top 10 chart. So what I can do is We'll do simple thing. We'll do Control C, we'll do Control V. A copy of the chart is made. Now I want to represent a second metric on this chart, like total sales, like how much sales these top 10 products are generating. I'll just make this bigger. So what we'll do is there's another chart in Power BI, which is known as line and clustered column chart. I'll just click on it. Once I click on it, these options are changed here. It has given me a option to add another metric to the same chart. So this line and clustered column chart gives you ability to represent two metrics which can be represented well on a shared axis. Okay, so this shared axis for me is product name. It is showing me volume of these products. Now I also want to see total sales of these products. So what I'll do, I'll drag these net sales to line value section. So this is telling me total sales generated by these products, top 10 products. And just to make things clear, I'll change the data colors. I generally prefer having contrast colors, especially with the charts here, because it just, I mean, if I'm seeing this chart for the first time, it gives me a quick glance on, okay, what is what? Okay, so I just keep them like, I don't keep them to very near shades. I keep them totally different. Okay, so if I go back, now I think we have an important insight here. If you compare this chart with the top chart, let's make this little smaller, make this little big. So when you compare this chart from the top chart, you can see cancellation plan is the most popular chart, which is followed by two-way comprehensive plan, then rental vehicle, basic plan, and so on. But on the bottom chart, if you see, cancellation plan being the most popular plan, insurance plan is not generating most of the, is not generating the top sales. It is on number 2, I would say, because the top generating sales product is two-way comprehensive plan. Now, as I'm not a travel insurance product domain expert, if I want to make a vague conclusion here, one vague conclusion would be maybe two-way comprehensive plans are more expensive than cancellation plan. That's why they are generating more sales for these agencies. So that's the another insight we have found out on this page. And I'll just rename this page to product analysis. Okay, now add another page. Let's try to see a few more visuals. Now pie chart and donut chart. Now these kind of two visuals I generally use when I have to show some kind of distribution and distributional analysis where I want to represent numbers as a percentage. Now obviously I can create calculations in Power BI to derive some percentage, but these charts give it to me by default. So for example, let's choose a pie chart. I move the pie chart and let's see what's the volume of products by maybe different agencies. Okay, so when you see it by default shows you volume of products and it by default in bracket shows you what's the percentage or what's the proportion of it, right? So that's good thing about pie chart, that by default it shows you a distribution analysis. The same thing is with a donut chart. If you move a donut chart, okay, let's keep it here. I want volume of products, and suppose I want it by gender. Okay, let's do it by gender. So it shows me distribution of these products around different gender groups. Okay, so that's how you can use a pie chart or a donut chart. Now, a quick analysis I want to show you is like, if you remember, we had something called age in the data. Okay, so we'll just move a simple clustered column chart, and let's try to no, let's take line and clustered column chart, and let's try to represent volume of products and total sales by different age. So I'll move age to the shared axis. I'll move volume of products to column values, and I'll move net sales to line values. And just to make things clear, we switch on data labels and change the colors. So we see it differently, and I'll make the chart bigger for you. And in data labels, what I'll do is display units as none. So we see some numbers. Now see this chart. Okay, if I hover over the biggest peak here, it tells me this is for age 36. So it tells me like people who were age 36 bought most of these insurance products and they've generated most of the sales. Okay, that's an insight. But But for these kind of analysis where we have something like age, I would rather go with, doing some kind of bucketing with different age groups and then try doing the analysis. So for this part of exercise, I'll just quickly show you. We'll create a new column here as age buckets using this age column and try to do the same thing for age buckets. OK, so for that, what we'll do for creating columns, we'll go to Power Query Editor. OK, and how you can create column is on the add column section. I'll choose custom column in my case, and I'll name it as age bucket. You can name it anything, age group, anything. And just to save time, I've copied this calculation rather than writing every step. So I'll just paste the calculation. I'll click OK. And you can see my new column is created in this data set. Now, just make sure one thing, whenever you create new columns, try to give them a proper data type. OK, now in my case, this is a text type. So what I'll do is I'll go to transform. I'll click on the column, go to transform. On the type, it says data type any. I want to give it as text, so I click text, and Power BI makes it text. Now in Power BI, you can identify data types easily. Besides the column name, if it says ABC, it is text. If it is 1, 2, 3, it is whole number. If it is 1.2, it is a decimal number. Okay. Now we'll quickly go and save our changes. Okay. So we save the changes and Power BI is loading that new column for us. And you can see under fields pane, just to make sure your column is there, you see you have got that age bucket. Now in this chart, what we'll do is in place of age, I'll just remove age and I'll move age bucket. OK. And the other thing I'll do is I'll just sort it in ascending order by my age bucket. OK, so yeah, so this shows me like a better, bracket kind of analysis. Like I have clubbed different age groups, age number into groupings. And now I can see, okay, 31 to 40 age group people are the most generating sales, and they are the ones who bought most of the insurance products. It is followed by 41 to 50 age group. So these kind of analysis should go with, by creating groupings or buckets. Okay, so now, as we are nearly to time, now what I'll do, now we have done, I have shown you a few insights, how you can create it out of this data. I'll just show you a ready report that I made because I really want to show you so that you understand what kind of interactions and capabilities you can bring into Power BI to make your report more, exciting for the users. So I'll just switch back to the ready report. So this is a ready travel insurance data analysis report I created some time back using the same data set, which we used here for generating these basic charts and insights. OK, so how I created this report was I just created a home page, and on the home page, I got a picture. OK, so in Power BI, you can insert pictures. You can grow there. You can bring an image. OK, so like, for example, let me quickly show you. So go to this page. If you want to bring an image, click insert. You want to insert an image. OK, bring anything. So for example, you can bring an image. OK, and then there are for certain image settings you can do in Power BI. OK, let's go back. It's easy. You can do it. So this is how I got an image. Then I tried to create 3 different kind of analysis studies. OK, so my first analysis is for travel products. My second analysis is travel age-wise summary. The third analysis is travel gender-wise summary. OK, now these 3 sections are basically 3 bookmarks I created. So how my report navigation works is if I click on it, it will take me to a travel product summary. So for example, I clicked on it, let it load. So it's loading all the charts. So this is all the analysis that's related to travel product summary. OK, and I'll start from the left. This is just the title. Then this is just a KPI I created, like total insurance products that I see in the data. Then on the left, I've got different kind of slicers we talked about. So for example, gender slicer is there, age group slicer is there. I can select them so my charts change on the right, and similarly I've got other filters as well. OK, and this is the similar kind of chart which we tried to produce as part of the exercise. This shows me total volume of this chart tells me top 10 most popular travel insurance products, and I've also plotted proportion of products they have claimed. OK, And the bottom chart shows me again top 10 products and the net sales generated by those products. Sorry, not net sales. I have plotted total commission value they have generated. Okay. Then at the bottom, I've got top 10 popular products that, for which they have made a claim. And then here I've just got total different unique destinations against which these top products have been bought. Okay. Now this back button, if I click on it, it takes me to my home page. So that's how the navigation is. You can build navigation in your Power BI report. So basically go from home page to a particular case study, come back to home page, and then go to another study. So for example, we go to travel age-wise summary study. Again, you can see the same kind of layout. You can see a KPI here. You can see all the different kind of filters here that you can use to slice and dice data on the right of on the charts. So that's how these things work. Then this is a similar kind of chart we created. It shows you volume of products bought by different age group and the proportion of claims that can be seen against those age groups. Then this is unique destinations visited by different age groups. So we can see like age group 31 to 40 and age group 31 to 40 and 41 to 50. They are pretty close. So this age group people are the most ones buying products, obviously traveling most. Similarly, on the bottom chart, you can see net sales and commission plotted by these different age groups. And if you remember the other data set which I bought in, that contained basically a number of accidents reported by different country. So I've just tried to plot them, and I created a relationship in front of you with that data set, and I just end up creating like how many accidents I can see in different age groups. Similarly, we use the back button to go to home page. Then again, we go to travel gender-wise summary. I'll quickly show you because I really want to show you this tab. Now on this tab, we have same thing, a KPI, and we have got different filters on the slices on the left. Now, if you see this chart shows you volume of products by different gender. Now, if you remember in the starting, we were trying to handle some empty values in Power Query Editor for this gender column. Now you can clearly see this unknown column has dominated your analysis. So if you see male and female, they have nearly same numbers. I mean, I don't have much difference in them. And most of my numbers are dominated by this unknown chart. So basically, this is the reason why you need to handle these null values or empty values or missing values in your data, because this will help you not leading to a wrong conclusion, because this chart clearly tells us there's no point in analyzing, at gender level, because male, female look same in every sense. There's not much difference because most of our data is dominated by unknown. So that's the important thing you should always keep in mind when you're analyzing data in Power BI. Or I would say any platform, if it is SQL or Azure, anywhere, you need to handle your missing values or null values in a right way so that you don't, draw wrong conclusions from your data. So yeah, this is the ready report. And in the end, I would just like to show you guys, I've got a list of Power BI resources in this slide. I can just copy and paste them in the chart section. And yeah, thank you guys. And yeah, I'm happy to take up any questions now.
Let me give them access to mute themselves.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 second. If you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. You don't have access. Raise your hand and unmute yourself.
Yeah. Hi, this is John Repast. I had to join the class late, but I didn't see how you set up for the beginning data stores where you pull in your sources of data. I know in the past you pulled in various into one data set and then you access the data from there. Is that able to be updated now on a continuous basis? Can you like pull in feeds to that?
Yeah, so for example, in my case, I had these simple Excel and CSV files. So what you can do is, for example, you can put these files maybe on a SharePoint location, and you can connect Power BI with the SharePoint option. So for example, if you go to Power BI, And if you go to get data option, more, and there's a connector for SharePoint online. So what one way is you can put everything in your SharePoint and bring in data from there. So your data can get refreshed. And the other thing what you have to do is data refresh can only happen when you have published your data in Power BI service. Okay.
Right.
So you'll have to publish this report of yours with this connection type to Power BI service, and then you can schedule a refresh there. So in that way, you can, just schedule your data, make it basically refresh every day, maybe every morning, if your data is updating from that frequency. So that's how you can set up those scheduled refreshes.
And I'm sure that if you can do it to SharePoint, you could just pull directly from like SQL Server or things like that.
Yes, exactly. You can do it that way as well. Yeah.
See, Gene, I still made it and had a good question, Gene.
How are you doing, Juan? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing great. This is a very good presentation. Thank you very much.
To be honest with you, it is very an outstanding presentation. Thank you, Pragati, for putting everything together like that. It was, you pull it at the beginner level, but actually it's even intermediate level because you did show a lot of some cool stuff.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for that.
I think I would say it's not the basic beginner thing, and obviously I can't finish everything in a 1 hour session. So I just try to pick the most important things I can show the audience all through the session. So yeah, that's what I tried to do. And maybe hopefully you guys enjoyed it and gained something from it.
Actually, we did. I see there are some other hands.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, sorry, it was really helpful. I really appreciate your hard work and like how you presented this. It's really awesome. So just one question. So this is a basic level, I can say, or intermediate level. But if people want to grow in BI level, so can you please arrange one more session or more than one session so that like people can, in Power BI there is lots of connector is there, like SQL Server. Through SQL Server we can connect through. You did not mention, I know the time constraint is there, you didn't mention that there is three types of modes are there. One, import direct query, and live connection. So in that case, if you really do a import mode, or like for import mode we need SQL Server. If you have ready SQL Server so that you can connect with that, so Microsoft already provides the adventure workspace to the 2017 or 2000, yeah. So in that case, if you connect with that, so that we will get like a huge number of data, and it will show more insight from the data. So it's a small, very small data set, and so it will be really helpful for audience actually.
Tanmay, I think, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Sorry. Tanmay, I think that's a great suggestion. I mean, I can come up with that session for next one if Jean wants to have. So because I tried to just focus on, what basic things you can do in Power BI. So that was the challenge, because bringing a big data set on such kind of session may have, just I don't think it will be possible to, just complete it in a 15-minute or 16-minute. So that's why I took a small data set. But yeah, I can come up with a session in which, I'm using this SQL Server connection, and especially the AdventureWorks database, what you have mentioned, which Microsoft has given us free. So yeah, we can analyze some data from there. I can just choose few tables and we can try generating some insights. And yeah, thank you, Tanmay, for that suggestion, because that just gave me a new topic for my session. So I'll definitely come up with that session.
I agreed with you. Thank you, Pragati. I really agreed with you. But like going forward, it's a basic one, like beginner one. So going forward, I'm talking about if you can. You can arrange a session, or like I also can try to do it. Like let's see how it goes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Of course. That's definitely a very good suggestion. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Next. Are there any other questions?
I have a question. I What is the difference between Power BI and Power Query in Excel function? Are they like identical? One is online and one is offline, or I don't know. I'm a little bit confused between Power BI and Power Query in Excel.
Okay, are you talking about Excel or you're talking about Power BI?
You're breaking up a little bit, so I didn't hear you.
Your voice is echoing, Pragati.
Okay,
I believe the connection.
I think she's asking what's the difference between Power BI connector and the Power Query within Power BI and the one within Excel.
Okay, if I understand correctly, I am echoing. Can everyone on so that I can
Can
just
you guys mute yourself, please?
Hello. Okay. So I think Anne, you asked this question. Okay, if I understand the question correctly, when I talked about Power Query in Power BI Desktop, so Power BI Desktop is a tool. It's not online. Okay, Power BI Desktop and Power Query is a section which is included in Power BI Desktop. So it's not an online functionality. It's a something standalone functionality, and it is being given to you within Power BI Desktop. And same thing is with Excel. I mean, obviously, sorry guys, I'm not an Excel expert, but I know a very little about Excel. That in Excel also, you have an option to open a Power Query editor, and it is also embedded within your Excel on machine. So it's not online. Did that answer your question?
Oh yes, it answered my question, and I just a little bit confused because, of course, I'm a beginner. I'm attending this kind of session, and I just had a little use about Power Query in Excel, and I just was not sure if there is a connection between Power BI and Excel or not. But I understand now. Thank you.
Actually, and can you go on mute? Yeah. So one thing is there, like there is a way to bring in any data model which you have created in Excel to Power BI. So you can have a read about it, but it's kind of an advanced thing which you would like to do after you have already, got to start with Power BI thing. So there is a way you can bring in an existing model that you've created in Excel and just bring it directly into Power BI.
Okay, thank you. May I ask you one more question?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. When I was working for a specific company, I usually use Excel only. And I do not know the current trend because I'm between jobs right now. Like Power BI becomes more popular or it is used. I just wonder if I'm familiar with the Power BI, I will have like more open jobs in like data world.
If I answer to your question, okay, Excel is an amazing tool. I will not ignore that fact. And Power BI, how I would consider Power BI, I mean, better in few situations. Like for example, in Excel, you can create charts. You can connect to different data source connectors in Excel as well. But in Power BI, once you create your reports using different connectors, you can publish it and share it in a secured environment with your different consumers. And even you can schedule your data refreshes, like what Tanmay was I don't think who asked me that question regarding schedule refresh. So that's a better thing in Power BI. You do the same thing what you do in Excel. You're analyzing data, you're creating few visuals, but you have got an add-on capability to share it in a secured way by different row level security principles to your consumers and users, and then further just automate those reports. So I would say that is another step for which Power BI could be helpful. And another thing is Power BI is very easy. I mean, like for example, I worked on Tableau before. Obviously, it was 4 years back when I was a beginner, but I found Tableau challenging, but Power BI was very quick for me to adapt at that level. So, but it can depend from person to person. A person who's expert in 10 visualization tools, maybe Power BI, Tableau, everything will be easy for them. But I'm just talking from a beginner point of view, based on my experiences, and it is very quick to, just download Power BI. It's free. Power BI desktop is free. You can just download it and just try playing around with it with a small data set or any data set. Create a sample data of your own. Just start bringing in it and see what you're getting out of it. So I would say Power BI is better in that way.
Okay, thank you so much.
Any other questions?
SK, I think there's two other people.
Yeah.
There are two other people. SK, would you please to?
Yeah. I'm from India.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
Pragati, it was a nice session. It's a like beginner kind of session. But while we are showing that cardinality section, right? No, that there was one-to-one relationship.
Yeah.
I have a question like if there is like two tables, two like data sets which are having multiple like
Many to many.
kind of, yeah, many to many. Can you just elaborate about that? How to handle that?
Yeah, so I think for certain situations, what I would do is, for example, let's consider the same data set, okay? What I took as part of this exercise. In this case, we have got one-to-many relationship. So in my second table, there are multiple values for a single value in destination column. And in my first table, I have just got unique values in this country column. Now, suppose if I had many-to-many relationship, what I would have done? I would have created a bridge table. Now, what a bridge table does is that bridge table will only contain unique values of this column and this column. So how we do that in Power BI is, what you can do is just merge these two data sets in Power BI, okay, based on just this column, country and destination. So once you have a column, you just remove all the duplicate values. So you end up with a table which will just have one single column called country or destination, whatever you want to name it. And it will just have unique values. So you'll have a third table here, which will be having unique values, which is clubbed off country and destination. Because what can happen is I can have few values in this table, which are not in this table, or few values in this table, which are not in this table. So I want to create a repository for them in a single table. So once that unique table is there with unique values from these two tables for this destination and country, I create a relationship for these tables with that bridge table. So in that case, this table will have a one-to-one relationship maybe, and this table will again have one-to-many with that bridge table. So whenever you're trying to use that country or destination column in your charts, you use that column from your bridge table rather than using it from here. So in that case, you avoid creating multiple many-to-many relationship in Power BI. Was that clear?
Yeah. That was clear. Thank you.
I mean, I can share some document on bridge table, or you can easily search online how to handle many-to-many relationships in Power BI. And there are amazing blogs people have written on it, because this question is really good, because many-to-many is actually a challenge which you get most of the time when you're working on a real world data set, especially in Power BI. You have to create bridge tables, or you have to somehow, break your model into dimension or fact table, star schema kind of thing to get everything work in a proper way. Because this is really important from performance point of view. Especially you can create many-to-many relationships. So like Power BI will never say no. Like now Power BI gives you a capability to create a many-to-many relationship. But the problem is, once you start slicing and dicing your data, then your performance will start degrading, because in the background, Power BI is running multiple queries for joining those data based on that many-to-many relationship. So it's always good to go with one-to-many relationship, or try to create star schema model kind of approach in Power BI from performance point of view.
Okay, thank you, Pragati.
I
Actually,
just wanted to
I'm
add
learning.
one thing here.
Okay.
Yeah. So here, so many to many, the thumb rule is not to create many to many relationship and go for a bridge table. That is a thumb rule basically for Power BI. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Okay, thank you.
Kenika, would you mind to ask your question?
Hi Pragati.
Hi, Kanika.
Pragati, I want to know, like, how did you create that back button in the final report? Hello?
Which one? This
Am I-
one?
The
Yeah,
back,
I can hear you.
yeah, back button which you showed me in the final report. How did you create that one?
Oh, 1 second. Oh, sorry guys, I'm not sharing my screen. Oops, I'm so sorry about it. I was explaining that many to many stuff and I just stopped sharing. Sorry about that. So in this final report, this back button, right? So what you do is you go to insert buttons. Okay.
Okay.
Now I want a back button. I create that back button. I'm creating a new one. Okay. So this back button is here. Now, whenever you create a button in Power BI, you need to add an action to it. Okay. Otherwise, this button is useless. So what we do is we click on this button and under format button options, you see multiple things happening here. But the main thing I want to show is create an action to a button. Now, what I want this button to land me to my home page. Okay. So what I'll do is under actions, it's a back button. That's fine. But I want to, it's a page navigation kind of back button because I want this button to go back and navigate to the home page. So so once you select page navigation, Power BI by default asks you what's your destination. So I create a home as destination. Okay. And I just close this. Now, if I click on this button, it will take me to my home page. So it's basically a simple button added with a page navigation action. Is that is that helpful, Kanika?
Yes, Pragati. And one more thing I would like to ask, like, if you have merged data in one shell, then how you will clean that data in the Power Query?
Sorry, what you mean about
Like, in an Excel file, you have one cell in a merge data. Merge in the sense like not in one cell you have two data available. Like
okay, so basically you want to split it into two.
Yeah.
So what you can do is in Power Query. I really don't know what. Okay, let's take this. Let's take agency type example. Okay. Now I want to split this. Now just consider that airline is the first value in this column and this agency is the second value in this column. Okay. So what you can do is you can split this column into two. So click on your column. Power BI gives you ability to split a column. In this case, I want to split it by delimiter, which is space. So I click on by delimiter. And in this case, my delimiter is a space. Okay. So I just click OK. I don't change anything. Okay. Once you click it, agency type column is split into two columns. The first value is airline and travel, and the second value is obviously blank and agency. So you can, leverage the benefit of split column thing in Power BI to split your existing column into multiple columns.
No, thank you, Pragati. But my question was like in one cell, two data is present. If you add two cell merge data, and a different column, it will be shown like a two data value available in one cell.
Do you mean concatenation?
Not.
Okay, can you give me example of a cell value? What kind of value in this cell?
Something like if you have a like airline, you have mentioned in that same you have in the same cell you have a date also.
Yeah.
Date format like some numbers.
Yeah, so you can do it same way. You can split it. But will you have any delimiter in there or will there be no delimiter at all? How it is? Because that depends on it. So suppose this column, if you see agency type, travel agency has got a delimiter as space, right? So it was easy for me to split it by delimiter as space. Now suppose take your example where this column will have airlines or maybe date is 1st August 2019. Okay. So if there is a delimiter, you can easily split the value the way I've shown it to you. But suppose if there is no delimiter, then you may have to write a custom function or something, to extract value out of it. So for example, there's something like airline 123. Now I just want to extract 123 and airline in 2 different columns. In the other sal value, I may have travel agency 12345. So in that case, you want 12345 in a different column and travel agency in a different column. So in Power BI, you can create custom functions to split numeric and text values apart. So that could be other approach of doing it. I mean, if you are considering that example of yours, if I'm understanding it correctly. Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Pragati.
Yeah.
I think we all set for today. I'm about to share my screen, Pragati, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
By the way, Pragati, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. It was very informative.
Thanks.
I learned so much from it. Yeah. And thank you all for tuning in. I would highly suggest you to go and save your spot to our next presentations. Okay. I hope you guys have a great night, afternoon, and evening. One more time, thank you all.
Pragati,
See
can
you
you
next time.
share all the links?
Yeah. Can you give me access to chat? I can just copy paste the links.
You can email me those and I will share it across, or let me enable the chat so this way you can share it with them as well. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Let me quickly enable the chat. What happened to this? Yeah, for some, okay, perfect. I think I'm good now. Give me 1 second. This is, for some reason, it's slowing down. Give me the system just, just give me 1 second, Pragati. You should have access to it in a second. Great session, by the way.
Thank you. Thanks, Jain.
And then you see they want you to come back very soon. I'm not sure about your availability.
Yeah, I think I've got a great idea about analyzing that AdventureWorks data.
Yes.
So yeah, I can definitely come back with a new data analysis case study for you guys.
Yes, perfect. I think you do have access now, so you can feel free to share it. And then also, I will email it to everyone. And then the recording video will be available sometimes later, guys. I will also keep you posted.
I can actually share a blog link because I'm not sure in what format this chat went on. Just give me a second, guys. So you can basically follow this blog I wrote some time back, and I keep on updating it with very good Power BI resources that I come across. So this list keeps on updating in few months every time. So maybe you guys can just go into this and have a look if you want to look for good Power BI resources.
Right. Thank you all for attending. Thank you one more time, Pragati. That was
Thank you so much.
That was a very great presentation.
Thank you.
And I hope to have you next year. Okay. Have a good evening. And thank you all for tuning in.
For coming for the session, and I love the amazing questions you guys asked. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day ahead.